All right, 97.7 Outlaw Radio FM listeners, we are live in full effect right here, right now. We got the ever so talented West Coast hip hop artist. We got Lola Scott right here, live on the line. How are you doing this evening?
Wes, I'm blessed. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to be on live with you.
Hey, you are most certainly welcome. It's an honor to have such a talented individual slide into the radio station airwaves this evening. So trust me, it's all love. I appreciate you, and I appreciate what you do for music and helping to keep that real hip hop sound alive.
Oh, thank you. You're so wonderful. I appreciate you very much. And hip hop appreciates you. I'm hip hop. You know, we are hip hop. We got to keep it strong and keep it going. You know, because unfortunately there's a lot of watering down going on, but. You know, my hip hop ain't filtered, so.
But I want to ask you, I want to take you back to the very beginning of your amazing career, and I have to ask you, what actually inspired and sparked you to get into the music industry initially?
So initially, I would say it was probably like a misery loves company kind of thing, because in the very beginning, I actually started in church choir, and it was more so about, just getting in touch with my feelings and being able to vent and just letting it out. So I did church choirs, school choirs. I wrote a lot of songs, and I just did a lot of solos, but it wasn't really just straight rapping in the beginning for me. It was more so trying to find that comfort and that peace.
And also as well, in 2014, you were actually featured on Swift's album Tragedy to Triumph on the song 212s. I was wondering, how did yourself and Swift get connected, and of course, what was it like working with him on that phenomenal project?
Okay, so from the first company, I would say the first professional company that I was working with at the time, I have a lot of connections and a lot of ties with a lot of people. And in the beginning, I met Swift through another group. They were called Production. They're still active already, but at the time I was under Darrell Madison. We're still working really closely together. He was the direct connection between Aaron Swift and I. And he's a great artist. I know he's still doing his thing. He's overseas, and he's eating. That's a win. It's always a win to be eating, right?
Almost definitely, especially this day and age with music. It's so hard to actually earn money within the music industry. I don't know, but I noticed that with a lot of artists. There's so many artists nowadays, and with Spotify and whatnot, giving artists pennies, if that, per stream. It's really hard for any artist to eat. So shout out to Swift, man. He's most definitely doing something good if he is eating.
Yes, indeed, definitely.
And also as well, in 2015, you actually released the phenomenal album titled Dear Lola. And I have to ask you, what's the story and inspiration behind that phenomenal record? And of course, is it still out there for individuals to stream or purchase today?
Yes, so it is Dear Lola. Shout out to Dear Lola, my freshman album. Yes, it is still available. At the time, I was from my Mama Records, and that's another affiliation of Aaron Swift. And it was a great opportunity. Everyone that was getting to know me pretty much had an input on the album. The artist that is on there, behind the scenes, it was a lot of hey, you know what, pull up, I got Lola Scott over here, we're in the studio, come, get in the lab, we're about to drop a song. And people will pull up. So, shouts out to Dirty Birdie and everybody else who showed up. Ticky the Caesar, a lot of people just showed up. Debris, it was really a life-changing moment for me, because after just doing music for so long, you always want that moment. You wait for that moment where you can say, hey, you know what, I've got an album, or let me go check me out. I'm here and there. And just throughout those experiences, Dear Lola opened up a lot of doors, and it gave me a lot of opportunities to work with a lot of great artists. So shout out to Dear Lola, definitely. And everybody that was on the album, I haven't forgot about any of you guys. Definitely shout out to all of y'all.
And I gotta ask as well, is that album actually available on CD format? Because I do know it's a relatively a few years old, but do you still have hard copies available? And if so, how can our listeners actually get at you to snag themselves a couple hard copies?
Okay, so if they do want the track for the hard copy, they can just contact me. I'm pretty much everywhere. If you go through Facebook or the social media, Instagram, Twitter, you can go under LowLA, LowLA, SCOTT, everything. So even if you just Google me so you can get an idea of how to get the album, there are still hard copies available. And yeah, just contact me at LowLASCOTT everywhere. Everything and everywhere.
So, ladies and gentlemen, you heard it here first. Make sure you head on over and actually snag yourself a hard copy of this phenomenal record. Either you get it or you most definitely will regret it.
Oh, thank you. And shout out to you also for telling me about the disclaimer for my website, because there was things that I did not know. And taking off and launching as an independent artist, there's a lot of learning that you have to do, like on the business aspect. It's not just, getting in the booth, paying people to record you, putting out the music. Like, no, I wish it was that easy. But behind the scenes, yeah, like disclaimers and trademarks and patents and just everything. It all comes together and it all makes sense. You know, you got to pay taxes on your business, pay taxes on your company, and, invest in your dream. I'm investing in my dream. So thank you for helping me with that, because nobody told me that. So that was a good looking out.
Hey, you are most certainly welcome. Honestly, I look at it like this. I had to learn from those mistakes at the beginning. So if I can help people learn from what I made mistakes of, you know what I mean? I can save people a lot of hassles. And honestly, the worst part is paying the taxes, man. I gotta say this. F the government, man. You know what I mean? The taxes is definitely what kicks your ass.
Yes, yeah, the taxes is no joke. But once you're paying taxes, hey, you know what, your company is really an investment at this point. So, like me, everything that I'm doing, I'm trying to make sure that I keep my company name behind it. I don't want to lag on that, because in the midst of everything that's going on, it's really easy to get thrown off track or, just to be discouraged and distracted. So just making sure, like, you tie up our loose ends, it won't get so hard, because like you said, you learn the hard way, and when you start getting dragged down by the wayside, learning all these hard lessons, I know I learned a few along the road, and, they suck, especially financially. Got to secure the bag.
And also, as well, you were actually known as the first lady of On My Mama Records. I was wondering if you can tell our listeners a bit more about that label, and of course, how did you actually earn that name, First Lady?
So right now I'm trying to patent myself as I'm on a mission. I'm on a mission to patent myself as the First Lady of the West. And so along the road, like as I was joining, like different groups and just learning from different teams and from different labels, I learned that you have to carry yourself, in first place in order to be in first place. So when I first started with On My Mama Records, I originally was the first female artist that was going to be rapping and, hosted as a rapper. So that's pretty much like why, it was like, hey, First Lady. But along the lines, it became more of an imprint and more of like a label for me, because it wasn't just like, hey, here's the first girl. Like, no, here's a leader, a boss, a woman in hip hop who's here to make a statement and who wants to carry a good, strong label, behind her. But right now, On My Mama Records is not something that I'm a part of. I'm just solely LowLA Scott ENT LLC. And just for the record, I am affiliated with a few labels. I am affiliated with JE3 Management, so shout out to them too. And shout out to S. Dot and a few other people who are doing their thing right now. But I'm an independent artist now.
And also, as well, in the year 2015, you actually released one of my favorite songs that you actually created. It's actually called Shots in the Mirror. I have to ask you, what's the story behind that phenomenal song? Because I have to say, it has such a rich, inspirational meaning behind it.
Thank you. So Shots in the Mirror, if you check out the video, it's on my Vivo channel. Again, LowLASCOTT. Shots in the Mirror is pretty much like in a reflection of my inner self. Like I was saying in the beginning, like when I first started with music and first started falling in love with hip-hop, it was more about like venting and having an outlet. So with Shots in the Mirror, it was a great opportunity to vent and have that outlet. I worked with a great team. Again, that was an Aaron Swift project. He's like, "Whoa, Lola, just saying my name tonight." That's right. Good business. So we did that together, and the video was awesome. By the end of it, I was pretty much like wasted because everything was real. There was no fake props in my video. The tears were real. The bottles were real. Everything was real. So the experience was just amazing, and it was life-changing. And I know a lot of people tell me, hey, it's a real tearjerker. So it's good to hear you say that. It's so great to hear you say that because it's just, confirmation that people can relate to me, like the real inner me.
And I gotta say as well, everybody that is listening, if you haven't had the opportunity to actually check out that phenomenal song, make sure you actually check that out because it definitely has a very amazing meaning behind it.
Thank you.
And also, November 12th of 2016 in Riverside, California, you had the opportunity to open up for West Coast Cam. I have to ask you, what was that experience like? And of course, did you get the opportunity to meet the legend himself before or after the event?
So yes, back in 2016, that was like one of my most, I would say, like epic years. I met a lot of greats. I met Nipsey Hussle. I met Sugar Free. I met Jail Felony. I met a lot of just great people, especially West Coast movement people. So yes, I did, and it was a great show. As far as I can remember, I want to say my feet probably hurt pretty bad, but but I think I got like 25,000 views in like the first 2 months of that. So at that point, I knew, like, okay, I'm moving up in the game. I'm doing something right.
And I gotta say as well, West Coast Cam is such a phenomenal individual. I had the opportunity to interview him here on the radio station, and I mean, for a guy that's done so much, he was just so humble. I don't know, before I got into this whole music industry, I always thought the people that I grew up listening to might be arseholes, you know what I mean? Because they have plaques, they have awards, they have multi-platinum records. But then they're the most humblest individuals I've ever met, so it just shows never judge a book by that cover.
Amen. Yeah, with that, I think it's just like, like I was saying, real hip-hop comes from a lot of pain, like as you learn and as you go along the road, you get a lot of bumps and bruises, but you don't get broken. So, you learn to carry that humility with you. You stay humble and you just stay gracious because it's so easy. It's a thin line between love and hate. And it's so easy to just to say the wrong word or to rub somebody the wrong way. And from that point forward, like you leave a bad taste in people's mouths. And at that point, it's pretty much like career suicide. Like I don't want to leave a bad taste in anybody's mouth. I'm a very strong, stern person. I'm not going to let you, run over me. I'm not a pushover. But at the same time, I'm very grateful that people even want to hear me speak, that people even want to listen to my music, to anything that comes out of my mouth. It's like, oh my God, thank you. I appreciate it. And I think that's pretty much just from feeling like, hey, I need to be heard. I've been through a lot. I need to be heard. Look at me. I need to be seen. And I think that's a lot of art. Art just really comes from, hey, I need to be seen. I need to be heard. I exist,
And also as well, in 2017, you actually collaborated with an individual by the name of Dada Doe on his Road to Success record. I was wondering, how did yourself and Doe get connected? And of course, what was it like just working on that project with him?
So Dada Doe is my CCO, and Dada Doe is she's a female, and then there's Dada Legendary. And I work with both of those artists. So on the Road to Success, that was a good project for me to be on. And right now, with Dada Legendary, he has a few songs that he's working on, so I need to be working on with him too. I don't know, like with every artist that I work with, every experience is different. I always appreciate being featured or being collaborative with Dada Doe, my CCO. She really did her stuff. Like, she really made sure that no matter what, she left an imprint with her music, with her style. She has a lot of other things going on. She does the ties and a lot of other things too. I know, like with her swag, if people are just looking, like, they're gonna say, "Oh yeah, look at dude." Like, nah, she just dressed like that. Shouts out to tomboys. So yeah, that was a good project.
And also as well, on New Year's Eve. This past New Year's Eve, you actually took part in the Trend City Radio rap battle on IG Live. I was wondering, how did that opportunity arise for you? And of course, what was it like actually taking home the victory to rack in the year 2021?
So that was awesome. That was really dope because back when I was like 14, 15. I used to do a lot of like the straight freestyle battle rapping with like a lot of older people, younger people. We just used to, shoot the set, so to speak. And so being able to do that, it was like, wow, it kind of took me back to my roots. Back at the Vibe in Riverside, I used to do the same thing. I used to get in the ring with people, and, I used to take the win. So when it came to Trin City, I was like, oh, my God, I didn't know that they was doing that because back maybe in 2015, 2016, I was on their radio station, and I used to come in number one a few times. Like, I came in quite often number one on their top 20 countdown. And so when I saw that, I contacted DJ Anthony himself, and I was like, hey, you know what, I want to be a part of this movement. It was a great experience. It was short-lived. It would have been cool to keep going, but hey, we all got things to do,
And I gotta say as well, I want to take you back on one thing because I kind of wanted to surprise you with this one, but I was reading a post there on the internet, and I noticed as well that you were actually a part of an old school hip hop duo by the name of the Pimpettes. I was wondering, could you tell our listeners a bit more about this phenomenal West Coast duo, and of course, how did you actually meet the other member?
Oh no, I don't know if they may have changed their name. I'm not too sure about the Pimpette. I know I survived with a lot of people. I'm sorry, I don't mean no disrespect to them. I'm just not sure. Maybe I may have met them under a different name.
Oh, okay. My apologies, because I saw a picture on your Facebook there with you with another individual, and it said, "Oh my God, throwback Pimpettes."
Oh yeah, no. If you're talking about D Dangerous or maybe that's who you're talking about. Yeah, she's worked with a lot of people, and she's still like a big voice on the West Coast. So it could be her. I met so many people. That's why I say I don't mean no disrespect. I don't mean to be rude or throw no shade to nobody. But after you've met like a billion million people, sometimes it becomes like, huh, when, what? Like, was I drinking? I'm sorry.
Oh, it's all good. But I also, as well, this year you actually released your newest single titled Without You. I was wondering, what's the story and inspiration behind your brand new single? And of course, where can we actually purchase it today?
Okay, so Without You, it's available everywhere. I was having a little trouble with the art. I guess it was saying like the size wasn't right. So when I looked into it, I could still see it. It's still available for purchase on like iTunes and stuff. To hear it for free though, you could go under Apple Music if you have a membership, or if you go under Xbox Radio or Google Play. It's on YouTube. The backstory on Without You. So when I was like 16 years old, I wrote the hook. It was pretty much like, I'm a Gemini, so I've always had like torn feelings about, like my emotions versus the person that I am. Because inside I'm like, oh, I'm so soft, I'm so sweet. But in all actuality, it's like, hey, you know what, I've got a lot going on, and, I lost a lot of people. I've been through a lot of tragedy. So it's kind of like not letting go of myself. So the words are actually, I would give my all away if you promise that to a fate, because I can't be without you. No, I can't breathe without you. So it's pretty much like I said, about me not losing myself. It's very metaphorical. At the end of the day, the song's about a gun. It's not necessarily about an individual. This year, when I went into the studio, I was like, okay, you know what? I'm going to just finish the song. I'm going to just do it. I left the hook. I got the beat. I was like, hey, cool. I paid for the beat. I'm going to shoot to the lab and record it. I met this awesome artist. His name is Idris Wardell, and he has a beautiful voice. And I was like, hey, would you mind just singing the hook for me? He was like, yeah, I got you. So it just worked out great. I was able to fill in the blanks, and pretty much like the story on the gun thing is Lola's got a burner. I got it tatted on my thigh and whatnot. I believe that you should always protect yourself. You should always be strong. Like no matter what it takes, at the end of the day, like you should always do whatever it takes to succeed. You have to be a fighter, and those are the things I like a gun could do for you. I know like you could go to jail if you use it the wrong way, but at the same time, like if you use it the right way, like, it's a lot of good things that come with having a gun. So I know that's probably super long, but that's kind of the backstory.
But I gotta ask as well, what is next for the one and only Lola Scott, man? Like, is there anything we missed during this interview? Anything else you still want to talk about or promote? Well, we still have you here live on the Canadian airwaves.
So anything that we missed, maybe right now, I am working with a few artists, so be on the lookout for that. Be on the lookout for my name popping up just anywhere randomly, hopefully everywhere. Again, that's LOWLASCOTT. I would like to say shout out to, the one and only G.O.D., if that's okay with the radio. If not, sorry. I would also like to say shout out to everybody who's ever believed in me, for working with me, Dada Doan, Swift, Boswell, my CEO, my kids, Aaliyah, Neo, my mom, my big brother, my bro G Nova, S.Dot, just everybody, Lyric, everybody who's ever believed in me. Boswell, we've been through a lot. I hope you're listening right now. If you are, thank you for helping me along the road, and I hope it's part of my growth, because I can say shout out to myself, because, I've grown a lot. I would just like to say that, I guess you're on the lookout for more visuals, you're on the lookout for more audio. I'm working on a project, Dice Loco, so shout out to Dice Loco. We're going to make it big. 2021, I'm so busy. Thank you. Shout out to you. Shout out to Outlaw Radio. Shout out to Canada. Thank you, guys.
I gotta say, you're most certainly welcome, but if you can, drop them social media handles. That way our listeners can follow you and stay updated everything Lola Scott, if they're not already doing so.
Okay. So it's LOWLASCO, and don't forget the T. Everything, okay? So if you're on Instagram, it's @officially_Lola Scott or @Lola Scott. Facebook, Lola Scott. Twitter, Lola Scott. Everything, Lola Scott. Everything, everywhere. Go to Google. Go to Google search engine, LOWLA SCOTT. Everything, and you can find me.
And I gotta say, first and foremost, thank you so much for just taking the time out of your busy evening and coming on 97.7 Outlaw Radio FM. I gotta say, it was an honor and most definitely a privilege to welcome you on my radio station this evening.
Oh, thanks, love. I appreciate it. Shout out to you. Shout out to Outlaw Radio Live. What's up, Canada? Holla at your girl, Lola Scott. Hey!
Hey, you already know. You have yourself a wonderful night out there in Canada. We most definitely shall talk soon. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.